I told you we'd be back probably less than
Check,
a
check, check.
minute. So we'll see if this guy's definitely if you're on YouTube, click back on there. Let's see what's going on. Facebook, we're gonna see if you guys are joining us yet.
No, it ain't kicking up on Facebook, so we looking like we're gonna have to ride with the YouTubers.
Let me check YouTube.
Oh, we're live. We're on.
Well, all right.
Yep, we're on.
All right, guys.
There
Had
we
a
go.
little glitch in the
This,
terrific technology tonight, but
yeah,
looks like we're back live this time on
I
both
think Santa
platforms.
Claus is already starting to get around and messing stuff up with the
Messing
internet
up the
connection.
internet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, starting to mess with stuff. So
All right.
everybody be ready. Everybody be ready. He's moving. I'm telling you, I've seen him a couple times.
We we were live on Facebook
He had one
and
of these in his pack and it fell off and landed in my yard.
oh Lord. All right, there you guys. I see the guys from
Oh yeah.
Facebook. No refunds are allowed, Dustin.
Dustin
We were
Shields said
actually
he
live
wants a
on
refund.
YouTube and we had to switch platform. I had to shut it down and start back over to make sure I had you guys on Facebook join us. So we're back again. And like I was telling the guys on YouTube a second ago, is first off, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Have a happy holiday season, Christmas with your family and friends, and remember what the true meaning of Christmas is about. It's uh, it's for one reason, really.
Oh yeah, for sure. I gave the best Christmas speech ever, but we weren't live on Facebook, guys, so I'm sorry you missed it. But I was saying Merry Christmas to y'all and hope everybody gets to enjoy family time and just have a blast.
Yep.
This is our first time being a Santa Claus this year, so we're excited. And Bubba's excited too. He's really excited.
Yeah, we got everybody going on. Bradley Beard, Mr. Bobby, Miss Linda. Like I said, happy Merry Christmas to all you guys. And we're going to talk a little crappie fishing tonight. And I kind of think about December, and I think about locations and different techniques to catch fish this time of year. I've got some mixed reports over the last couple of days. I've got some really good longliner reports. Got some good live scoping reports. So these different techniques, and you think about live scope and long lining jigs and spider rigging, these other techniques are actually still working and guys are really producing with them right now.
Oh yeah.
What I'm being told, also, I've got a great report from the head turner.
Oh really?
Yep, the head turner, and I'm sure I've got one on my counter here, but
Let's hear the report for that.
a buddy of mine was out fishing this past Sunday, I believe it was, or yesterday, and noticed a lot of big white crappie suspended. And when he would cast out to it and bring the head turner over the top of them, he said, "Man, it was like a light switch. They'd turn around and come back and smoke them." So getting some really good reports from the head turner, and that's
That's awesome.
a new jig head that was released actually at iCast, but probably now more available than it was definitely then. But it's available on lurenet.com. But it's a dual blade jig head that I designed probably 6, 7 years ago, and we got it all fine tuned, and now it's actually out on the market. But I designed it for long line trolling, and also now casting a live scope is where I liked it, and I know Dustin used it
Oh yeah,
long
yeah.
haul.
I have whacked the fish on it here. Honestly, just maybe about a month ago, I really whacked them. They were fired up, and when you got it close to them, they would turn and see it from a long ways. They do pick that up a lot further than when the
Yeah.
jig would be. They pick it up coming at them a lot further away, so you can get fish to react on that bait like nothing I've seen, honestly. And you can see it on the live scope real nice as well, having both those blades. It'll really pop on the screen. Yeah, I mean it even shows up on camera better, but it's pretty amazing. Quick shout out to my buddy Bo Tisdale. He hopped on here. I haven't seen him for a while or heard from him in a while. So Merry Christmas, Bo. But since you jumped on here, we need a fishing report because that's another stick in the industry. And I know he's been fishing here lately. Surely he has, depending on how busy he is with work. But if you have been fishing, Bo, where you been catching them, and how's the bite?
Yep, and like I said, today's bike, I actually haven't been on water, so I've kind of been relying on some buddies
Yeah.
that actually still been able to go fishing. And like I said, I heard great reports from long lining jigs to casting to
I know.
chasing down some open water fish. So I think the bite's pretty good. And
Yep.
I was saying earlier that I think in December, once you kind of locate these fish right now, kind of like summertime,
Yeah,
and
they
I'll
stay
always tell you
through the
guys,
winter.
I think a lot of similarities between summer and wintertime crappie fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I
Due
feel
to
like if
current.
you locate them in the summertime, they're pretty much in the same pattern throughout the summer. They might go, up and down the water column and change the way they want the bait to present it. But a lot of times they're pretty dependable. And what I mean by that, they're in the same location throughout the summer. And same scenario in my mind is that once I kind of locate them in the wintertime, they generally stay in that same area,
Yeah.
especially in the months of December, January. And here for us, especially some of the shallower lakes, those fish are really start transitioning into a pre-spawn pattern. But the rest of December, the rest of January, for the most part, if you found them in December, you want to make sure you go back to where you found them in December to find them in January. So you can kind of look forward to, if you locate them, make sure you kind of stay in that same area because more likely they're going to stay there.
That is right. Brandon Thomas on there. I know he's been
Mm-hmm.
absolutely destroying the crappie around here too, as well, Brad. I mean, I haven't been able to fish as much as I would like as also, but Brandon's keeping me informed that they are still biting, and he is destroying them lately. Big old black crappie and white mixed. He's been doing good.
We'll get some stuff on here.
Travis
Trying to get that.
Decker, another Texas stick. He said, "Good evening, fellas."
Good evening. I'm going to show you the live link for the head turner just in case you'd like to see that on there. And it should be showing it on the screen. A better picture than I can show you on camera. But that's the head turner. That's the bait I was telling you guys about a second ago. They're available on lurenet.com. And what's the discount code in case they want to order some? And they're good after Christmas.
Crappie Connection 15, I believe, is the discount. And that's with everything on lurenet.com. That's a heck of a store to shop at, guys. So hop on there and find you some stuff. I know there's something for everybody on that page. Oh, Steven Sullivan says going to be mid 60s here the next week or so. They're in trouble.
All that.
Mid 60s for a week? My goodness gracious, that would be nice.
I
We don't
seen 70s
quite get
coming
that
in the
way.
next week as well.
Man, that will be slick.
And I seen a question that a guy kind of asked, and I think it was after last week's Today's Bite show, and it was on Facebook. Someone asked about, and let me see if I can pull it up and I can get it actually all the way correct. But they were asking about fronts changing the positions of fish, and would you rather have a warming trend, or a cold front, or what, as far as how fish are going to react? And for me, my answer is always going to be the most stable weather it is, whether it's a warm front or a cold front. The more it stabilizes, typically the better the bite will be for me. Let me see if I got that question
The only
actually.
thing that really messes with it, in my opinion, is big rains. Like when you get a lot of current, it can really change a fish in a split
Mhm.
second. Is a good rain. Brad loves a good rain, but sometimes I don't.
Mhm.
I don't like when that current comes in ripping.
Well, and a buddy of mine were talking actually today about Barnett, to be particular about what lake. And these fish right now in Barnett, it seems like I said, my memory plays back year after year. It kind of this same scenario. They're in the wintertime pattern. They're in the river channels throughout the lake. And you think of a big system like that, and that's a lot of area that those fish can be in. They're going to hover near the ledges, near that deeper water column. And why I really look forward to current this time of year is I know they're wanting to stay in that particular depth of water,
Mm-hmm.
that typically 18 foot or deeper. But if I get current, it's going to really make them all concentrate together
One
to
area.
get out of
Yeah,
that current.
that's right.
So I really look forward to current this time of year because it just gets so good.
Must be nice.
It happens over there.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just ain't looking hard enough, huh?
Maybe not. Tony Rye from YouTube, he said last week you guys were talking about the no eggs in some fish, and he said he's not seeing any eggs in the fish in Georgia as well.
Man, that's crazy. See, yeah, ours are stuffed really plumb full of eggs. They're already starting to really hold them, but things are later and different over there. I would imagine they need to start picking up pretty soon. I bet they start holding some eggs soon. But keep us informed if they don't.
I got today's bite fishing report, and guys, as you get these fishing reports, and we're gonna see what Dustin's got us on fishing reports. Kind of told you some of mine, but shoot out your today's bite fishing reports. Give them out on what you've been doing, how you've been catching them, technique wise, and some of the things that you might have picked over the last week since we were on here. Mr.
Sure.
Charles Henderson, he's going out tomorrow to give us a report. So, same line. We'll be here next Monday night too, instead of Tuesday night next week.
We'll be I might, depending on the weather tomorrow, there's like a 90% chance of rain, so it sucks. But I might just throw on my Norfolk suit and go bite the bullet because there's no wind. And this time of year, if you can find a day with no wind, you can go rip some fish. So I'm thinking about going to get my own fishing report tomorrow as well. And might go try to put a hurting on them, but we'll see if everything lines up right. But Go ahead. I was just saying, I'm thinking the fishing should be great. Like I said, Brandon Thomas around here on Lake Hudson is destroying them. Oh, here we go. He just gave us a fishing report. Lake Hudson water temperature, 49 degrees. Black crappie are holding on laydowns and 16 to 20 foot of water. When the current is flowing, fish are tight to the laydowns, and then light flowing the water, they are roaming near the laydowns. So there you go. Kind of tucks them in when the current's going, and then when it's not, they kind of spread out a little bit.
Concentrates them together, current.
Yep, that's
common
right.
denominator there. Larry's asking, does 12-mile-an-hour wind or less hurt the bite on the rest? I actually don't think so. I like the less wind, and one of the reasons I like it is, first and foremost, is boat control. You can really control that boat less than 12 miles. Once you get over that 12, it gets a lot more challenging. And then number two is the boat slap. The less amount of boat slap you can have, the better the bite will be typically in my mind. So yep. I like anything under 12 for sure better than over.
Kyle Falconberry has a good question. Have y'all ever used an umbrella rig for crappie? And I actually have used it. It was a homemade. Well, I've used several different ones, but I've used a homemade one that did the best. And it had just little bitty wires and little bitty crappie jigs on it. And you can catch crappie with an umbrella rig. Yep. I don't think it's like better than a single jig, but you definitely can catch them. Yep, I have used an umbrella rig. It's fun.
It is fun.
Very easy to see on the live camera. Do what?
I said every way to catch them is fun.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. It's just something new, but I don't think an umbrella rig stands out or does much better than your single jig or smaller jigs either. So, but it is a blast. I think I've brainstormed every which way to try to catch them crappie. We've used all the way up to Ken had me in Grenada used, and I want to say it was a 6-inch bait. We called it what was it? Ken, if you're on here, you got to remind me. Oh, a mud puppy. We were using a mud puppy bait, and I mean, it was that long with a crankbait bill on it, and he caught some fish with it. It was the funniest thing ever. But we've done it all. I mean, honestly, we've tried everything. And a crappie will just eat about everything a nice big bass will. They kind of feeding on the same thing, and besides a worm, I've never done real good with a worm. Never got one to really bite a worm.
And I can say, and I can think back to scenarios where, especially a Texas rig with a crawdad would probably catch them pretty well. Especially
when they're crawling on the bottom, especially. Yes,
I think that would be probably catch some monsters. Gary Scott, south end of Grand Lake is slow for me. Water temp is 51 degrees. Can only see about a foot down, so it sounds like it's kind of dingy on the south.
Got dingied up on the south end. That ain't no good.
Chris Bankston finally caught a birthday crappie today. Happy birthday, Chris! First off, have not caught any in a week or so. Black and monkey milk was the color. Awesome.
There we go. Gary Scott with a Grand Lake fishing report. Gary, I hope everything's going well on your end, buddy. Sure nice to hear from you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Richard Crawford with the 25K Crop Connection. Richard, have you found any more crappie? He said it was getting pretty dang tough on Grand, so I'm curious to what he's got going on.
Jonah, and like I said, I was telling about a buddy that was catching them on the head turner. He had a pretty interesting comment here on YouTube about it. He said, if you haven't casted the head turner to open water crappie, you haven't lived yet.
There you go.
I'm like,
It does. I've seen firsthand. It does definitely. If the fish were picky, it would be a bait that you might get a school fired up with. Like you can drop it down there and they will just shoot out of it. Like, whoa, what's going on? Thinking that there's a feeding frenzy. But if they're eating and aggressive, they'll blow that thing in half. I mean, it's a great bait for sure. I've seen it both ends. There's a time and place for it, just like every other bait, no doubt.
Curtis says
There's a few
18
places
foot
I
has
really
been.
want to use.
Oh, we'll discuss that in a second. Curtis says 18 foot has been the sweet spot here in North Louisiana. I'm probably going to suspect Darbone on that report there, Curtis. I would bet Darbone would be 18 footers. Let me know if I'm right about that one.
Robbie Webb said yesterday, Sardis Lake, 12 to 14 foot of water, catching them 2 to 6 feet deep. Caught a limit yesterday. The fish were spooky today. B Lake in Mississippi, fish were on the bottom, 5 foot of water, and saw a jig. I just lost the very end of it, but I cannot believe how shallow they're catching them right now in Mississippi. That's nuts.
I'm gonna get down to that because I'm very interested about B Lake. Stephen
Great.
Sullivan, I see the message here. Carl Painter. I've known Carl Painter for 20 years. I just see where he passed away with that. I did not see that anywhere. Would definitely keep his family in our prayers this week.
Sure, man.
I've known Carl a long time. He was actually a guide on Sardis up there a long time, and a really good fisherman. So definitely want to thank his family over this holiday season for, man, what a loss.
Geez, yeah, that's tough. Hate to hear that, especially this time of year. Roosters fishing, caught fish on Lake Palestine. 25 to 30 foot of water in timber right off the river channel, 2-inch ATX lure company. Wicked shad in lightning storm. Roosters fishing. Thanks for the report, partner.
ETX Chris, Lake Athens, Texas. Black crappie are schooled up but hard to catch. Casting a 1/32 natural baits from 40 foot on a slow retrieve is key. I could definitely see that.
I
And,
was
you know,
gonna say that sounds about right.
a hard bite, you know, and I think of these little itty bit mayflies. I just don't know if these black crappie would resist these itty bit mayflies. What color is that, Dustin? That little
That looks like pecan cream to me.
No, is that actually mayfly itself? Has a gold foot?
I don't know. I can't really tell. I can't tell because it's just this. My phone screen's so much smaller. Maybe when it pulls up on the Facebook, I'll see. But
It a little bitty bait, you know, just man, I would love to get out there, and I wish our fish would school up like that. And there's been very few times that I've seen it actually happen on the lakes that I don't normally fish, but I see all these guys that, you know, get to sit back and cast in those big schools of crappie. I know it happens a lot in Louisiana and Arkansas as well. I just need to go across the river more and experience it, I think.
Rhonda Hill, she has a question. Do the Bobby Garland brush off jig heads only come in Moglo colors?
Yeah, I don't think they. I'm trying to think that I don't believe they do in unpainted. I have to check on that, but let me see if I can look that up.
Man, yeah, that's a good question there. It's a good question. But Rhonda, tell me what's wrong with all those colors? Because the pink one's all you need. I mean, really, if you ask me and Brad, pink's all you need.
Jeez.
I mean, maybe the white one. You need the pink and white.
Oh no.
Oh, let's see.
No. No. I'll say the white. I'll give you that. That's
Okay.
the brush off jig. That's the new jig head weedless.
That's a very nice jig too. You can drop it as thick a cover as you want and not get hung up. That's a really nice setup as well. and I've done well with it. David Fuller, he said, killed the black crappie on Fort Gibson, all caught on a Bobby Garland 80 bit. My man. I was wondering when Fort Gibson was getting ready to come around. I bet maybe you probably went up the river. Are those fish starting to bite yet? Because I know that really turns into a holiday out there when they start biting on the river and catch some giant black crappie. And they kill the nice crappie on Fort Gibson this time of year. So I'm curious if that's where he was fishing or not.
Shockwave, Abe the crappie hunter, has the water level at Lake Washington come up? Not to my knowledge. I haven't been to Lake Washington lately, but I don't think we've had enough rain to really bring it up quite enough yet. So I don't believe so. Somebody might chime in here and tell me different, but not to my knowledge.
Mike Martin, Merry Christmas to you as well. Again, Merry Christmas to everybody just getting on here. I'm sure, we're going to have to say it a few times because people come in and out different timings. But Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you all have a blessed holiday week and next week.
Mr. Bill Roach, he said, been fishing old school, single poling, fishing on the boat slips. Rain and wind don't matter. That I did do some boat slip fishing last year, and like Bill was saying there, it is nice to be able to go out there when it's raining and nasty and you don't want to get on a boat or it's windy. So if you can come across some really good boat slips this time of year, those fish just come in there. The only problem that I incurred on the boat slip I was at last year, and actually I rigged up a portable Livescope. I got a Mad Scientist battery pack and put a transducer on the pole. The only time I really want a transducer on a pole if it's off of a portable unit.
Yeah.
Off a dock.
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped down my Livescope and man, giant black crappie in the gnarliest
in there
spot you can imagine. And usually the first pitch you get anywhere near them, one would come out and get them. But getting those big ones out, I was looking at how the boards were fastened down because I was like, if they were attached by screws, I'm about to take up a couple of boards. Man. But they had shot them.
I've been there, done
they
that.
had shot them down.
This is a true story, Brad. You would appreciate it. Yeah, I have reached the long poles in between those boards before, and my client has hooked a big fish, pulled him up to the board. I took my shirt off and swam under the dock to get the fish because I knew it was a big one. Got a video of it.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'll do for a big crappie. Yeah, they were in there like that. And I said, if you can fit the jig in there, I'll just go under the dock and pull it out. We were then that desperate need of a crappie. So if your guide ain't swimming for the fish, I don't know, if he really wants that.
That's not what happened to me.
You just go find them somewhere else, won't you?
Well, like I said, that particular slip that I was fishing out of last year, you couldn't, normally you think, well, I can lay down and stick the pole up underneath it, but the board, and they had it submerged under the water about 2 inches, so it was virtually impossible to get even the pole back there where those fish lived. And you think of crappie not being the smartest thing out there for sure, but they know how to
depends on what day you ask me, Brad. It depends on what day you ask me. I'm telling you, tell me how they know to go under that dock and know that ain't nobody can get to them. That's pretty dang. That's a smart fish to me, because you can't get a throw net, you can't do nothing to them, you can't get a jig to them. Them things are smart. Trust me, I've thought of everything getting to them fish. I've even thought of, Brad, making a bobber with a fan on it to where you can swim the bobber under the dock. I've thought about everything.
Yeah, I think back at Lake Hamilton, the first Crappie Expo 5 years ago, and I'm not a big dock fisherman, but the docks that I did locate fish up underneath were in the very back corner, and the only way that we could get a bait to them, and this is a true story, this is crazy how we would get the baits back there to the fish, is we would use a slip bobber, and you kind of wanted to where you would have to jerk it to make the bobber actually let the jig down. So it wasn't like you slip it out in the bottom, the jig just falls automatically. You had to twitch it a little bit to make it start falling. and they were floating piers, docks, what have you, and there were little cracks in between the flotations, and we'd pitch the slip bobber and then turn the trolling motor around and gun it
Oh yeah, yep.
and have the uh,
The backwash.
turbulence of the water moving from the trolling motor push the bobber and have it drift back into the far corners and to where we would catch fish at. But literally, it would take 3 or 4 different tries of getting that turbulence of the water push to drift back to the very back little
Oh
section
yeah, yeah.
to get to the sweet spot to catch fish. But
You ready?
the
You ready
fish
for
didn't work.
my next invention? And if somebody would make me one of these, I would love you forever. But I need about a 15 to 20 foot pole, and at the end of it, almost something that like what you dip those eggs in the dye with,
Yeah.
that you can set
Yeah.
your slip bobber in, and then just have a little lip off it that you can set your hook on. So when you reach that wire way up in there, you can set your bobber in the water and shake the hook off, and it just drops down where you want it. See what I got going there, Brad? When
Right.
it comes into that, tell me you wouldn't have used it on that day you were talking about getting them back there. Yeah.
The,
Just something
the
that'll
only problem
hold
with
your
that,
bobber that you can feed them under the dock and then just drop your bobber down. That would be great.
you don't make very many friends fishing docks from the people that own the docks like that.
You ain't
That's the only
wrong.
thing I really encountered.
It definitely depends on that too. I've been on both ends of that spectrum for sure.
Yeah,
I've been threatened with my
I do
life,
that.
and then I've been just talked to and enjoyed a good day of fishing. So been on both sides for
Mhm.
sure.
JR, he's got a report on YouTube. Pickwick still is whacking them. Brought home the limit yesterday. 10 big crappie today as well. Pitching monkey milk. Solid head.
Oh
Close to the dam. Still strong bite for 4 weeks now. That's awesome for Pickwick. I mean,
yeah, that's a long time for a good bite to stay too.
and I would have to try the smallmouth next after I caught a limit of crappie for sure.
There you go. Yep. Dean, he said, "Merry Christmas, Dustin. Why haven't I seen a picture of a deer yet?" That's a good point, Dean. Thanks for reminding me. But I actually have killed a deer. Me and my wife both have killed one. I just haven't got to posting it or nothing. But we had a fun, super, super fun hunt, and both each actually killed one in the same day. So it was a great time. Got an awesome picture with little man, and it'll be a cool memory. So we did actually kill a deer. I just ain't got to posting it yet.
Well, I haven't even been in the deer woods. It just have not.
Golly, Brad, you did not have to admit that to all of us.
My rifle is still in the gun case. It has not even been out.
Oh man.
Let's get
But
on
Dean,
down
if
here.
you
I'm
got
trying
a
to catch.
place that you could put me on a big deer, buddy, you just let me know and I'll come take care of it. That's my, you know what, guys, if y'all forgot my Christmas present, it's okay. Because my birthday's the end of January. So after we recoup from Christmas,
Mine too.
just holler at me and we'll get something situated from a birthday present in January.
Quick reminder, guys, if you have not hit the thumbs up yet, the like button, make sure you do that for us. We're trying to get to 200 every time between the two platforms. We're at 102 at the moment. So if you could hit that thumbs up or the like button for us, it definitely helps us out more you can even imagine. And special thanks to Bobby Garland Bates for putting up with Dustin and I to do today's bite every week. We love
I
doing
thought
this.
I thought you were just going to leave it at thanks for putting up with Dustin.
Well, I was
Thank
going to
goodness you. Yeah, I thought thanks for dragging you back in there with me.
yeah,
Because in
both of us.
the
I mean,
realistically, it's me you got to deal with.
no, it's both of us for
Oh
sure.
man.
Did you see Roosters about Lake Palestine?
Yeah, I read it off.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up.
Oh, but his Robbie Webb with the B Lake, you had it on. You just pulled it up there. It looked like.
Yeah, yep,
And
I saw
you
that.
said you were wanting to hear about B Lake a little bit.
Yeah, Robbie Webb. Today, B
Yeah.
Lake fish were on the bottom in 5 foot of water. The fish saw the jig, it would nail it. Fish were not spooky at all on B Lake. The only thing, and Robbie answered this for me too. How's the boat ramp situation up there? That lake's a Mississippi Oxbow Lake, and
Okay.
I know of only one public ramp up there, I believe, and it might not even you might have to pay to use it. But at one time, I heard it was kind of tricky to get a boat in and out of it. But Robbie's up there catching them. So guys, if you're looking for a good little lake. That sounds like B Lake might be on the hit list for you.
5 foot of water. That's
5
insane
foot of
that they're
water.
not selling. I
That
wish they
that
would.
lake right there probably starts spawning late January, definitely the mid
Wow,
February.
that's crazy.
It's a shallow lake.
Yeah, that's right. Probably stays warmer.
Kevin, up here in Wisconsin, he said they're not feeding much. Real slow bite today. Kevin, what was the water temp? Are you fishing ice? I think of Wisconsin at Christmas time. I think probably
Yeah, it's got to be cold. That cold water fishing like that is just a different creature. Watching all those videos of ice fishermen and like the live video of the fish underwater,
yeah.
so much different than here. The way they fish for them, the way they sit there and make the jigs say, it makes me. I want to go do that one time just to mark it off my bucket list. Go ice fishing for a big old black
Yeah.
crappie. It'd be
And
fun.
say I'll see those guys catch some big giant
Yes.
crappie up there ice
Oh yeah.
fishing. Um, I got invited to go fish with in fishermen up there ice fishing. I
Really?
just haven't done it yet, but it's definitely on the hit list to go up there and ice fish. I've never done it, but I think the itty bit, mayfly, that little dude up there should eat them alive. That and the itty bit
Oh
swimmer.
yeah. And they're starting to. I've been seeing some videos actually on Bobby Garland's page here of somebody with a mayfly killing them on the ice. But I would love to find a guy that just slams them all the time on the ice because you don't want to travel that far and get your butt whooped. You want to go out there and just rake in some slabs. So that'd be a fun one to find the right trip on it. Even some walleye out of there would be awesome.
Yeah, Mr. John Harris, excuse me. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Jim Churchill said we get the big black crappie through the ice all the time here in Michigan. Man, that's awesome. That'd be something else.
Try to get
On
on
them
down.
little bitty poles, I bet it feels like a tank reeling them in. And that's some fresh, cold fish there.
David, and I'm assuming when you're talking about a live scope head, I'm not sure exactly which one, but I can tell you, about the head turner. This joker with twin blades, whenever those blades are moving, it's definitely easier to pick it up on the live scope.
Absolutely. That's the first time because honestly, there's been a lot of like live scope stuff. You can see your bait better with this jig head or this bait or this. That is a true, you can definitely, I will attest, you can see your bait 2 times easier, but it's because you have two shining willow blades. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of crazy. You got two big metal pieces off. It's like having 3 jigs in one ball. It's like a huge egg sinker on there. It really shows up for sure.
Mr. John Mayo got a fish report for Enid. Enid and Sardis. Let me get you back up there, David John.
Oh yeah,
Caught
you do.
several good fish. A 265 this weekend, almost 6 inches of rain.
Ooh-wee.
The water was really muddy. Wouldn't even drop one unless it was less than 3 foot of water or
Oh my
shallow
god.
water column.
Oh,
Large profile baits. Orange and chartreuse was the bait of choice.
I need to head to Mississippi.
3 foot or
I'm
less
tired of it. 3 foot or less. That's incredible.
in the water column,
Yeah.
not in
Yeah,
depth.
yeah. You could be 15 foot of water, but he's talking about them ones that are up there just sunbathing. You just see the top of them in the dang live scope there at the very top of the screen. It is a crazy way to fish for them crappie, but it is a blast. I mean, this will give you perspective. A lot of times in Grenada, you got your egg sinker and your jig. I've caught tons of fish with my egg sinker out of the water, and your jig is just hanging just barely in the surface. Like those fish he's saying 3 foot or less. When he says less, some of them are probably 4 or 5 inches deep. I mean,
Yeah.
it is crazy how those fish sit. Crazy.
I think about that scenario that John's talking about as well. Real muddy water, he's using a bigger profile bait as well. And that sounds like definitely the key to that scenario
Oh, yeah.
is that muddy water using a bigger profile bait so these fish can actually locate it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Now, you drop an itty bit, those fish probably wouldn't be able to locate it very well unless it was inside their mouth, which some guys can do.
That's right.
But these bigger profiles help those fish locate them a whole lot faster, I'm sure.
Mississippi's the only place I've almost had a crappie jump in the boat from spooking it with the trolling motor. Have you ever seen them walk the surface of the water when you
Yeah.
sneak up
Yeah.
on them? Yeah, that's the
I
only
said
place I've ever done that.
Mike Valentine that used to own Crappie Masters years ago. I remember. I don't know if he said it on a the TV program or was just talking about it, but I recall him saying that actually they were at Lake Washington getting ready for a Crappie Masters tournament up there, and a fish jumped into the boat. A crappie jumped into the boat
Oh my
by
gosh.
itself. It was so shallow.
Is that not insane?
But I've seen them run on top of the water.
Yeah,
Literally, they look like sharks or
yeah.
dolphins going through the water.
Mhm.
How shallow they were.
I have too, for sure. I've been flying around and like kind of like pass a fish, like it wasn't a tournament fish, pound and a half fish, and you just go to fly by it, not thinking, and the troll motor gets super close or it spook, and I mean it just will walk on water like it's running on the surface. Unreal how they do that. But John Mayo said the biggest fish all weekend had buzzards circle them. They were so shallow. That's insane.
That's awesome. Kit Smith, he's catching some black crappie today on the Coosa River. He lives on Lake Martin, excuse me. The big ones are coming off the bottom and smaller on brush. 1/16 ounce lead head with a Bobby Garland monkey milk. Oh, monkey milk. You just can't go wrong with that
I was
color
gonna
on
say
that.
there's a lot of monkey milks today, and I can't blame them. That's a great color to use this time of year with a
Youngins
pink
asked,
head, Brad.
has anybody ever had a Christmas crappie fish fry? He said it sounds real good. And I have not done that, but it definitely sounds
Man.
good.
Oh, it sounds any day fish fry sounds good to me. But
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever had a Christmas fish fry. Actually, I had a huge uh, shrimp and crab leg showdown
Mhm.
on Christmas one time, and
We've
that was
done it before.
that was unbelievable. But not a fish fry, not yet. I wouldn't count it out though.
I know another thing. I think about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, we had our church Christmas party, and I brought smoked crappie dip, and it was a hit at the Christmas party. So if you guys have not seen the Kent Driscoll smoked crappie dip,
That's
uh,
where it's at.
I will warn you, if you take it to a function, get ready for it to be
Gone fast.
well, not even only that, but they will expect it from that point forward.
Oh no, yeah, you
Our
can't be doing
preacher
that.
come up to me and said, "I know that what you need to bring every time now is that smoked crappie dip." He really
Yeah,
enjoyed
that's
it.
awesome.
So that's the only warning I will give you. If you start it, you might not be able to stop it. Kent, he said he's heard some 14 plus inch fish coming from 3.5 foot of water on the mid Cosa river system today. That's shallow. Those fish down there, I know in that Florida range south, I January is not an uncommon time for those fish to be spawning. So those fish might be in even a pre-spawn pattern, I would suspect.
Well, that sounds like to me. That's crazy. Shane said he fed 100 senior adults at the church fried crappie
Awesome.
last Tuesday. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. I love them big fish fries. The smell of some a big fish fry is nothing better.
When do we do a big fish fry together?
When did we?
Yeah, come on, Dust. We cleaned like 80 fish, you and I.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. When was that?
Last, it was cold.
Last spring, wasn't it? But it was early spring. It was like beginning of March, late February.
Yeah, yeah. We
Somewhere
did
in
big
there.
fish fry.
Yes. My goodness, what we fished? We clean or not? We didn't clean. We fed like 300 and something people, didn't we?
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was unbelievable. We had several fryers going. Bobby Garland threw a deal for the factory at Fort Smith. Yes, that was epic. But me and you alone, now I think we cleaned close to 70, 80 crappie that day from
Yeah.
Eufaula. Me, you,
When you
WST.
follow what?
No, it was it wasn't Eufaula. It was Kerr Lake. Kerr
Yes,
Lake.
correct.
Yes. Yep. And the
And
color of choice, I knew this was coming.
and
Yeah, Grenada Gold. Grenada Gold.
Kerr Lake. If you go to Kerr Lake, make sure you bring some Grenada Gold.
100% Grenada Gold. A nitty bit Grenada Gold will change your day out of there in Kerr Lake.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer. An old wise man once showed me that.
Well,
Old gray head.
yeah, great beer.
Oh man.
JR, he said, have you guys ever seen a red dot in a crappie fillet and take a knife and dig it out and it appears to be a long worm inside it? Yes, I have, but not usually in the wintertime. That's typically a stagnant water
Yeah,
kind of
summertime.
scenario,
Yeah. Mhm.
summertime that I have seen it. And, they say you can fry them and eat
I was gonna
them.
say, I've asked the
And all
biologist. They say it's a healthy
that.
parasite. You just got
But
to cook it.
now I don't know that to be true, so don't take my word for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I've
I
been told,
personally
brother.
don't think I could eat it. I got a little weak stomach when it comes to that kind of
Man,
stuff.
I've seen their stomachs full of those worms. Like I've seen the
Yeah. Oh, what happened to Dustin? I don't know. I personally, though, we'll see if Dustin get back on here. But personally, I honestly don't think I could eat it. I just got a little wheezy stomach when it comes to that. Kent Smith, yeah, I would try to get you guys a link to that crappie dip, or you can email me, do crappieconnection@gmail.com, and I can send you the recipe to the smoked crappie dip. And like I said, the warning I will give you guys when it comes to that is get ready to feed people over and over because they're always going to request you do it. But a quick rundown on the recipe is I have a pellet smoker and I set it to 225, get it to 225, heavy smoke, and I'll do a light coat of not the vegetable, olive oil over the top of the crappie fillets. And then I'll take Old Bay seasoning and coat both sides of them, put them on the smoker for 45 minutes, take it out. You add mayonnaise and Worcestershire, a little bit of hot sauce like Tabasco, garlic powder, onion powder, and I'm sure I'm gonna leave something else. But you'll combine that with mayonnaise and cream cheese, mash it up real
smash it
good.
all up.
It is fine. But send me an email if you want it, and I'll send you guys a good copy of the recipe. crappieconnection@gmail.com.
John Mayo says it's getting close to snagging season. Snagged a few Grenada already. Lots of rain this week. Just needs some really cold weather to make it really good. That still blows my mind that they can snag crappie out there. And I'm guessing these fish won't bite that you're snagging.
No, they're below the spillway itself. They're not in the main lake. They're at the spillway system, and there's a. They say the colder the better it is to do it. Now,
That's
in
crazy.
my thought process, those fish are getting in that river channel in the very bottom, and that's how they're getting sucked out. Um, but I've heard unreal. I've never experienced it. So, John, I know you got my number. I would love to come up here one night and do that.
That would
On
be a blast. That'd be a
it
heck of a video to take for us, Brad. We got to see it.
would be. It would be. So,
Yes, it
John,
would.
it's up to John Mayo at this point to make it happen, guys. He knows my number. He knows how to get a hold of me. But Terry, he said he spent a couple hours at Jackson Lake in Georgia this afternoon. The larger crappie would separate themselves from the schools. Caught about 12 on the Bobby Garland jigs. Color really didn't seem to matter. Which style did you do? The baby shad, the old live roamer, or what was it? That's another the swimmer style with a little knot at the end of it.
There's just a few options around here.
There's a ton of options. But what Bobby Garland did you catch them at? Okay, David, let me see. He said he sent me a picture about the jig of this Livescope jig.
Two people are on you about the mayo, Brad. They said it all sounded good until the mayo. Mayo's the favorite, my best part.
David, I see your message. I have not put that jig in my hand, so I really don't have any firsthand knowledge about it. And, you know, I've seen some different things that I cast back in July. I'm not sure if that's one of them or not, but I have not experienced that or not myself. Ruben Flores. Hey, welcome in here, Ruben. Some awesome jigs, hentais he does as well.
Chad Rogers, somebody we ain't heard from in a while. How you
Yeah.
been, buddy? He said the number of specks over 2.5 pounds on the res main lake is mind blowing. Before the rain comes, fish are in the river channel or at the river bend. That's crazy. Big blacks. Man, that would be a blast.
And they're mean. When
They're
they
mean.
finally fight, they're mean. Chad, what color were you catching them on? Would love to hear that as well.
Yeah, we need to know a little bit more about that, Brad says.
Joe Ashley. Joe Ashley. You can take the mayo. You would love it. Duke's mayonnaise actually is the best one to be.
Yeah, John Breland said that too. He all agreed with it besides the mayo.
Oh, Terry said he was using the swimmer. And this is the Bobby Garland swimmer. And you see it has a little broke back tail in the center of it right there. And a little knot. Kind
Little
of like
extra action.
a little knot for the vibration for as casting goes. It's hard to get them on camera. Another real unique thing about this bait, it has a little cavity in the center that runs down through the center to put the slab gel in, the slab jam gel inside of it, and to kind of hold it inside that cavity there. Joe Ashley. Joe Ashley had a good fish report. I know he's been catching them as well on the res.
But yeah, Chad Rogers was using a black and red 30-second hair jig. Chad, were you seeing a bunch on standing timber or roaming on the res? I might just have to come visit.
I bet those black are going to be on that timber.
Were they schools of fish or just singles?
Yeah, I've never seen those fish really school apart, so it would be very interesting to see if they were schooled up as far as
Yeah.
black crappie.
Man, 2.5 pound black crappie is all I need in my life for Christmas. It's all I need.
Mike Willer, deer season's almost over in South Carolina. He said he's getting ready to hit the floating grass beds in southeast South Carolina or eastern South Carolina in the swamps. Mike, quick question about that is with those fish, what is the typical spawning season on the eastern section, like South Carolina? Is it on into April and May or March to April? What's the typical time frame for y'all spawn over there in
Gotta
South
be
Carolina?
wild. Northeast Texas Crappie Guide, Cody Peel says slab slayer have been working pretty good here in Northeast Texas. I can agree to that. I had some good Texas reports with the slab slayer. The full size is a bad mamma jamma this time of year. It always has been.
That was a Grenada Lake killer for a long time. Stephen King. Stephen, first off, he said first time watching today's bite with us, and he's asking about the dates. Typically, Stephen, we're on Tuesday nights, but this week we're going to be on, of course, tonight on Monday night, and next week we'll be on Monday night, 7 Central Standard Time. But throughout the year, we come on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night, unless it's a week like this week. We come on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock on YouTube and also Facebook. Guys, do us a favor, especially if you're new watchers, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. Follow us on Facebook. We'd love to help you guys out and just love talking crappie fishing with you guys.
Welcome to the crappie team, Stephen King.
Absolutely.
And I didn't mean to rhyme that.
I got 179 likes, so we need some Christmas love here, folks. So if you have not hit that thumbs up button, the like button on
Facebook,
make sure you do us. See if we can get us to 200. Dustin needs some Christmas joy.
Yes. Chad Rogers, he said he caught some roaming in between the trees, but the amount of shad in the channel will black out your screen. That's amazing. Oh, no wonder they're 2.5 pounders. They're just gorging on them shad.
Tim, another first time over in North Carolina. Man, Tim, appreciate you guys joining in tonight. New guys, man, we need you. Thanks for coming on here and
Yes,
watching
sir.
us tonight.
And Merry Christmas to
Merry
everybody.
Christmas. Kay Bray on Facebook, he said, I fish a lot of river systems. How would you fish current? Yeah, Dustin, I'll let you lead off of it.
Yeah, the current is my enemy, so that's a real good Brad question. But I like to get into what we call here anyway is eddies. It's where you have like slack water where the current's going by and you have a pocket or like a cove or a secondary creek that just doesn't have that much running water. It seems like those fish will peel off of it because crappie don't like current as much as I don't like current. So they try to get out and hide of it. And I start to kind of zone in on fish on the bottom. Like the fish kind of suck down a little bit more to me when the current's rolling, but also on structure. They suck better on structure.
Getting out
Um,
of it.
yeah, getting out, yeah, exactly. Getting out of the current. So I guess, it's not a bad thing when you can find them, but it definitely when you find them with good current, you found a lot of them. Like it does
Yep.
congregate them. So
Yep.
you definitely, the fish do congregate. It's just a little harder for me to find them sometimes in the current.
There's a lot of ways that, and you think of eddy systems and slack water and non-moving water, that those eddies, the crappie, like Dustin said, they're lazy. They're wanting to get out of that big
Oh yeah.
push, and then they're wanting a place they can ambush as well. One unique uh, scenario that I've seen with current, and a lot of times you would overlook this spot, and it was concentrated. I don't know, several hundred crappie, but the scenario was two creeks come in together. One was extremely shallow, and it was flowing into a deep creek. And at the end of the shallow creek was a deep hole, and you could see current coming, especially from the shallow side, because it was shallower and it would push more current through there because less space for the water come through, and then it emptied into this deep hole. Well, what I found those fishing to do with the A Livescope. Now, before that, I would never really even thought to look at this spot. And actually, how I discovered it was just having the trolling motor down and going to another area. And I ran across it, and it was a deep hole right at the end of the shallow water. And the current was blowing over the top of the deep hole and positioned all the crappie right on the ledge of the deep water. And those fish were just literally stacked up underneath the current as it rolled over the top of them. So that's one of the things that's probably not talked about a whole lot when you think of current. A lot of people say, well, I'm going to get to the you know, back behind the curve, and as the current goes by, you can actually see it on the water surface, that slack area. That was a situation that I found that the eye and the boat movement would push you right over the top of them because you're like, well, that's all fast flowing water. But it was actually a underwater slack area on the very deep side of that draw going over the top. Hopefully that makes sense how I described it. But it was a very unique situation that I come across a couple of years ago when it come to current. And it was fantastic because those fish were actually
Oh, I
staged
bet.
up on the bottom of that ledge in that deeper water looking for bait to come over the top of them. So they were in an aggressive state of mind because that was just a ideal spot to ambush.
Did you have to use a heavy weight to get down to them?
Well, it really wasn't all that deep,
Oh,
and
okay.
because the shallow side was only 5-6 foot. Now the deep hole got down to about 20, so this fish were on the top side of
Gotcha.
that ledge, just
That's
up
epic.
underneath that 5-6 foot. So you just pitch up ahead of them, and the time it drifted down, and I think we're probably using 1/8 or nothing crazy though
Mm-hmm.
to get it down there. And as it would float by them coming down through it,
They would fire up, wouldn't they?
it would smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a spot that I've seen for a long time now. I don't know how many years, and never thought that would be an area that would really be impacted by current. But I love current just because, like Dustin said, and I think of the reservoir, that scenario, and I said it earlier in the show, is you see the fish are throughout the system in the deeper areas of the lake. and you might see, section that has, quite a bit of fish. But if it had current, all those fish that are scattered out would be really concentrated to get out of that current. And Mr. Charles Henderson knows it, and a lot of other guys watching John Breland. The welfare hole is a famous spot on the reservoir.
Even I know that one.
Even
I think I learned about the welfare hole the first live show we had 2 years ago.
Did you?
I think so. Yeah, I said.
Yeah, have you heard
I asked you
anything about
after the show. I'm like, what in the world, Brad, is the welfare hole? You said I can't tell you. It took a while. We had to become a lot closer friends.
Chad, he said he's going to do a video demonstrating on how to. No, he's wanting Dustin to demonstrate.
Yeah. He said I'm wrapping presents. You should have Dustin demonstrate how to. I can't wrap a present if my life depended on it. Thank the Lord for a good wife and mama to wrap all the presents, because there was no way I could do it.
Well, like I said earlier, a few minutes ago, next week won't be on Tuesday night either. It's going to be Christmas already. That'll be New Year's Eve. A lot of people will be doing different things. So we decided 2 weeks ago that we're going to do tonight's show tonight, and then next week we'll do it Monday night as well. So, but after that, we'll be back on Tuesday nights. It's just for the holiday season. Another thing that's coming up that all you guys that are getting into crappie fishing major and want to learn more about crappie fishing is the Grizzly Jig Show at the end of the month. It is January 31st, February 1st, and February 2nd. Let me see if those dates are all. It might be even more than that.
Come on,
I
Brad.
think it actually starts the 30th, but usually the seminars seem like they're the 31st, February 1st, and February 2nd. Grizzly Jig Show, sponsored and done by Grizzly Jig up in Crothersville, Missouri. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be a great time. It always is my favorite show of the year, every year. But Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all you guys that are watching tonight, taking the time out, coming on here. Hopefully everybody has a safe and memorable, if I can say that correctly.
Memorable.
There you go. Christmas, and just thank each and every one of you for taking the time out and being a part of what we get to do. Special thanks to Bobby Garland Bates for putting on today's bite and putting up with Dustin and I.
For sure.
And, it's going to be a year.
We better have a heck of a fishing report for next week from everybody having all this holiday season time off and going fishing. We better have some fishing reports. Be looking forward to it next Monday at 7 o'clock.
Next Monday, 7 o'clock. We'll be back, and we'll do it again.
Thank you guys very much.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.